Desiree with theastrologyaddiction.com. Today I'm going to continue part 2 of the composite moon through the zodiac signs. So we will be doing Libra through Pisces, 7 through 12 of the zodiac signs. And the composite chart, I will be using the midpoint method, and this is basically the relationship chart between two people. So you can pull each individual's chart and then you'll make one chart, and then that moon from the one chart is your composite moon. So basically the relationship moon. So your Libra moon in a composite chart, Libra is ruled by Venus. It's an air sign and also a cardinal sign. So people that have this composite moon in their relationship charts, there will usually be a higher level of that communication. They will want to find peace within the relationship. They'll want to, the relationship might be an area where they are able to come and have some rest after a lot of working. They might have their own individual social lives, their own careers and everything like that, but they feel that coming back into this partnership, they've been able to maybe find peace, find someone who they can speak to about anything, who they can tell all of their problems to, and who really balances them out. I would say that this definitely shows that there is balance in the relationship between the masculine and the feminine, or just, between whatever the person might be needing to balance themselves out. One person might be very aggressive and very high energy, and the other person might be more relaxed, calm, peaceful. So in that way, usually that means that they are just a pretty balanced pair when they have a Libra moon, and that they're able to talk through their problems pretty well. It doesn't say so much about them being like together forever, but it shows that they have a peaceful union for the most part. And, Libra, although similar to Gemini, as it is an air sign and it's very communicative, there still can be a level of, it being on the surface level and not wanting to go so deep as, your water signs or even the earth signs. It's a little more that surface level type of a relationship at times. But it would have a tendency to be, like a really great friendship or something like that, where, you two have a lot of fun together. You like to do a lot, like go to things together, go to events together, have the same social groups and things like that. But as I mentioned, it is an air sign and very communicative. So there is a potential for some type of a deceit to be happening. Sometimes Libras are not always very straightforward. They can tend to kind of hide things in certain places where they don't want people to see it because they want to appear that everything is going well. So this can be one of those relationships, like they're on the outside, they're wanting it to look a certain way for the aesthetics and for, they're, keeping up with the Jones. They want to portray like a really healthy and good relationship. And, sometimes there can still be some festering issues underneath the surface that they definitely, need to look at, need to talk about, need to work through, or, potentially move on to the next relationship. Now, a Scorpio moon in a relationship. My friend had this with her partner, one of her boyfriends, and this is something that is going to be very emotionally turbulent, intense, and a lot of friction. You definitely want to have a high level of physical interaction and just interaction with one another. You can sometimes be controlling with one another. It's an all-consuming type of a moon. You really rely on each other for emotional support. Sometimes it can even be a codependency or a control, and this can be negative or positive. There's high levels to each of the zodiac signs, so sometimes it can play out as being just an emotional, intense connection like you may have never had with someone else, where you're able to just talk through anything and work through any problems together and, really support each other through those things. And sometimes it can be, that more unhealthy side of control and abuse, or even just a high level of like sexual tension as well. It can be a little bit uncomfortable, I would say, for the partners. Like it's a need to be with one another. It's a fixed sign, so it can definitely be at times loyal and steadfast, and the type of relationship that sticks it through. But again, it's more turbulent and more intense, and there can be some real, issues that you guys are meant to work out together emotionally to grow and to really transform into the phoenix, that a Scorpio, really the imagery shows that that a Scorpio would be. So you guys really have a lot to work through together in the relationship. So your composite moon in Sagittarius, now this would be a relationship that you two are really meant to learn a lot from one another. You're meant to, this could be more of like a teacher-student relationship, I would say, than like a love rate relationship. But it definitely can be, you know, you guys could meet and want to like, you know, learn from each other. You could even meet in university or traveling abroad or something like that. But there is a strong level of like being kind of foreign from one another and having to learn a lot about each other, like each other's culture. And, you know, there can even be from maybe the woman, like a level of sort of thinking that she's always right. You know, Sagittarius is very like dogmatic. So in between the partners, that can be a theme. And, you know, it can be like one partner thinks that they're always right. One partner is guiding and teaching the other partner the ways of things. There can be a lot of fun with it too, though. There's a lot of optimism and hope and excitement and positivity. So this relationship can be one that is super positive and super fun, and you know that you two are exploring a lot together. Very adventurous, very fiery, passionate, and again, just something where you guys are meant to come together. And I would say probably to learn about compromise and to learn about not looking just so much at the big picture and looking at like the pieces of things, especially in a relationship. There's a lot of pieces to the puzzle of a relationship. So you can't just be like, this is how it's supposed to be done and this is the only way that we're doing it. You know, you have to learn to compromise. So that's, I think, the biggest part of having this in your composite moon. Now, having a Capricorn moon in the composite chart, this is something where it is an earth sign, so it's a good placement for you to build with this partner. This is more of a moon that you see through like relationship partners, business partnerships, maybe a boss and a subordinate, or you know, colleagues in the work space, because they have a responsibility to one another and to the relationship. It's something where there is a really high level of responsibility that one party, maybe the woman, will feel towards the man, you know, that she has a duty to him and that she has to work really hard to make the relationship work. This is not like an easy aspect when you have the moon here for the composite chart, because it requires a lot of hard work to make the relationship work. This isn't something that is warm and nurturing and fuzzy and just easygoing. It is challenging. You know, you two will be put through a lot of really difficult tests. It can be a lot of pressure, you know, the pressure that makes a diamond, but it can be something that does, you know, produce that diamond at the end, where you guys work really hard together to get through things. And there's a lot of challenges that you work through as a couple, but that you come out on top, and you can build a really powerful like empire together as a couple. But people forget that Capricorn is a feminine sign, so it can also be something where you have a really structured life. You know, this is the relationship that you get to as a mature, you know, really actualized adult, and you say, you know, these are the things that I need in a partner. I am willing to compromise about certain things, but you know, what I want to build my life on, I have these requirements, you know, and you need to meet them. I need to meet them. I you know, it's a very responsible moon sign. So it's something that is not like taken lightly. Like, this is not just a fling relationship. It's not a light, just casual relationship. It can be a really serious partnership. Now, an Aquarius moon in the composite chart, this is a relationship that is not like the standard man and wife relationship. It's more of a unique type of relationship, or different. You see this a lot with like people who are bisexual or homosexual, or you know, that they don't identify, you know, they're definitely not like straight monogamous type of people. They definitely can be, though. It's just something that you see, because when you have an Aquarius moon in the composite chart, it is such a fun like friendship moon. You know, they have a real like empathy towards one another. They have a care for one another, and they want each other to grow and to expand and to, live their life. They don't want to hold each other back. So you see that, as I mentioned, a lot in those types of partnerships, because oftentimes there is that freedom that is really important. Anyone that has this composite moon in a relationship, freedom is such a huge part of their relationship. They have to be allowing, they have to let one another be their unique individual fun self, and they really have to love them for who they are. So it's something that you see in those types of partnerships, but it can also be in long-term partnerships, partnerships that maybe have, maybe they have a long distance relationship, or they have some type of a unique situation where they are just have a higher level of freedom. They're not controlling of one another. They are understanding of one another. They are kind of, moving at like a higher frequency than some of the other signs. It's not like your Scorpio or your Cancer, where they're very, possessive, and they want to have you, around them, touching them all the time. These moon people, in the composite chart, that this relationship isn't something where they need to be touching you all the time. It can be a virtual relationship. It can be something where you guys have met online and you are communicating via, online or text or video chat. It's just a lot more, innovative and more new age of a relationship. They can have a lot more freedom, room for growth, room for learning, and room to just really be themselves. And they typically aren't tied down. So I don't see this being the regular, partnership that would go to run to the courthouse and just get married after a week of knowing each other. They value their freedom a lot more than that. And it's usually pretty mutual, or at least on the woman's side. And men for the most part are kind of go with the flow in that way. Like if a woman's not pressuring them to get married, usually there's no rush. Sometimes certain situations, the man definitely likes to lock down the woman, but would be more okay with having that open type of a relationship and more freedom. Now, your Pisces moon in the composite chart, this is such a sensitive and, sweet sign, but there's also kind of a darkness to it. So the Pisces composite moon will be very intuitive. They understand each other. They can even communicate sometimes without saying anything. They have such a spiritual relationship, very emotional. They can spend a lot of time together just kind of sulking or talking about their emotions, wanting to communicate about those types of things with each other, because it's such a huge part of the connection that they have. It's very emotional. So they definitely do that. But it can also be, Pisces has a side to it where it can be a little bit lazy, so they can want to spend time just kind of laying around, being lazy and merging together. They just want to be together, like just to be one person all the time. So that can be a side of the relationship. It can also have some negative sides, some escapist tendencies. Maybe one of the partners has sort of a imaginary, life that they're living that the other partner doesn't know about, possibly. Maybe they have something going on, like a fantasy or a situation that they're not being totally honest with, because Pisces is, has a lot of Neptune influence, and so there can be some hidden things going on. They can even have sometimes, drug or alcohol in the mix of this relationship. It can be a big theme for the couple, something they have to deal with. And, even sometimes somewhat, mental checking out. And it doesn't mean, mental illness or anything, but sometimes it can be that there's a little bit of instability there. It's a very creative partnership, very, very nurturing, very sweet, and they have such a strong emotional bond. So sometimes it's hard for them to release this relationship and let go of it, because it is, they've merged so much of themselves with one another. They're just really like the same, they get to a point where they're so intertwined in their life that, it's hard to break, but at the same time, they can still hold secrets and kind of have this fantasy life going on in their own heads. But this is something that's definitely a very emotionally driven relationship, and high emotions, sometimes drama, and a lot of potential challenges in that way. But it can also be a very, as I mentioned, spiritual relationship, very the savior and the person that they're saving, you know, like a Jesus type of relationship between people where one person is saving the other person, you know, giving a lot up for that person and being sort of their savior in a way. So that is the composite signs from Libra to Pisces, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them below, or please book your reading with me. My link is in the description box. I can do relationship readings and individual readings, so please feel free to reach out. Have a great day. Thank you.